Good day, everyone. It is the end of January. Tomorrow's February starts. And I was unable to do a video last week, and probably already noticed I'm driving something different. Well, about a week ago, the motor gave out in the tracker. If you watched any of my previous videos, you probably know why, because it was noisy. The thing sounded like a diesel. I knew the timing chains were getting bad in it, so one finally let go and locked up the motor. Luckily, I do have another spare V6 engine, so that's the plan for today. Got to go down to the shop where I work and swap the motor out. It's a little off topic from what I usually do, but I figure I'd throw it in. And this rig here is a 2007 Nissan Xterra. Works good. Harder on gas than what the tracker is. But I gotta say, it do work really good. And it was given to me by a friend of mine here in Steamville area. And very thankful for it, because it got me out of a bind. The other tracker is out in blacked-out siding with tracks on it, so I can't really use that one on the road. And this one here will get me by until I get the tracker fixed, which is hopefully going to be this weekend. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this one yet. I mean, it works good. It's got 67,000 kilometers on it, so that's not very high mileage. Everything seems to work good on it. I got a few little things that I need fixed for inspection, but nothing I can't handle. So anybody got any ideas of what I should do with this in the future? Send it in the messages there and give me some ideas. I was thinking about putting the tracks on this one for the winter time next year, but the wheel adapters are just so expensive. It's like $1,000 for the wheel adapters, and I got the wheel adapters for a tracker, so I might as well keep it with the tracker. And I don't know, another option would be a plow rig. I mean, it's almost too nice to use as a plow rig though, and nothing else, but you never know. Let me know what you think. So now I'm going to head down to the shop and put the tracker in the garage, because they're just about getting ready to close down there now. The garage closes at 3 o'clock on Fridays, and I don't work on Fridays, so go down there and get her ready and start getting at the motor job. So I just made it to the shop. We got the tracker just pushed in here, as some of the guys from work give me a hand with it, and just started it, and I realized I wasn't recording, so I figured I'd start now. So far I got the radiator, the intake, a couple other little pieces taken out. I got all the fluids drained, power steering, the oil, all that stuff. Now I'm moving on to the dreaded part, the electrical. I started at that, and that's where I am right now. So as you can see, a V6 in this little tracker takes up quite a bit of room. I figure I'm going to start at the harness on the top here now. I'm going to take pictures just for reference, because it's always good to be safe. And after that, I'll get at the heat shields down below there on the exhaust. I already had her up on the ramp, and I looked underneath, and the exhaust studs look in really good shape. I might need heat on them, but very unlikely. So that's a bonus. So time to get back at it. I guess that's going to be the first of many rounded off bolts, but I'll get her. Guess they're on there tighter than I thought. That's one. Only another 5 more to go. If they all comes out like this, I got her made. I'm hoping none of them get snapped off, because then I got trouble. Not really trouble, nothing I can't handle. It's just, it'd be a lot of extra time to fix it if they snap off into the manifolds. And that's the last one. I saved them all. I'm very thankful for that. So, I still got some electrical to do on the back of the engine I didn't touch yet. And the bell housing bolts, starter got to come off, and the torque converter bolts, and the motor mounts. And then she should be pretty well ready to pull. I mean, it don't sound like much, but it's going to take a while to do that. So I'm going to be skipping through a lot of it, because a lot of it's just boring stuff, but I'll tape a bit of it as I go along, and I'm going to get back at her again. So while I was underneath the tracker, I decided I was going to get at the bell housing bolts to separate the transmission from the motor. And I realized I can't get at them because there's just too much stuff in the way, but looks like if I take off the exhaust manifolds from the engine, that I'll have enough room to get at them. Not easy, but I'll be able to get at them. So that's what I'm getting at now. Luckily, with all the oil leaks just had, it kind of lubed up the manifold bolts good. I'm quite thankful for that. Any of you out there work on vehicles at all? I'll tell you, this thing is a must-have. It's only a cheap one from Amazon, but I had it about 1.5 years now, and it works great. Cordless ratchet, and it is awesome. So I made a bit of progress. I didn't have the camera on for a while because I've been having quite the time here trying to get this disconnected. Then I went to get at the torque converter bolts. I couldn't get at that because the oil pan was in the way. And to take the oil pan off, you had to remove the front diff. So, there's the front diff. I got that out. It was really not a bad job to get that out, but still, wish I didn't have to. And you can see where the oil pan used to be now. Right there. And right up in here, let me get the flashlight on it. You can see torque converter bolts right up in there. I'll tell you, there's not much room. But I should get this done over the weekend, I'm hoping. That's the plan. Because Monday morning we're open again here, so I gotta have her at least mobile again. So I'm gonna get at those torque converter bolts now, see if they come out, and I think I'll call day one done because I only started at this at around 3 o'clock and it's around 6 or 7 now, I believe. I'll check on my toolbox over here. 6:32 on my toolbox over there. 6:32 or 6:38. So yeah, it's about time to call it a day, really. So get those torque converter bolts out. I'm not going to pick up a thing here because I know where everything is too like this. And back at it again tomorrow morning. I was a bit concerned about getting all the torque converter bolts out because the motor is locked up. But luckily it still turns in reverse. So that's a good thing. There could have been a bit of misery. I would have had to haul the torque converter with the motor, and then I probably would have damaged the pump seal in the transmission doing it. So I'm glad that's not going to happen. Alright, so that's going to do it for day one. And I'm back. This is day 2 of the project of swapping out the engine and the tracker. And it's just one thing after the other. Oh man, it's just... I changed a lot of engines in my day, but this is just terrible designing. Let me show you where I'm at. So, my boss was just here and he gave me a hand to get the hood off, so I got more lighting. And right now I'm taking the intake off of the engine to get at the top 2 bell housing bolts. Now this tracker already got a 2-inch body lift and there's still not enough room to get at those bell housing bolts. So I got to haul the complete intake off, and it's proving to be quite challenging. I mean, I got this throttle body let go, but that's bringing up in the fuel rail right under here. So now I got to haul the injectors and everything out to get that to clear. And after that, I got 1 bolt left down here for this flange. The other side is already unbolted. And I'm hoping that's going to separate, but I don't feel like it's going to yet. So it's going to be quite a fun job here. So it's time to get back to it. I'm kind of on a time limit for this, so I gotta push to get this done because today is Saturday and the shop opens back up on Monday morning, so tomorrow evening I gotta have this out of here. So it makes the challenge all more exciting. Fella gets into a job like this, he's honestly just better off taking every tool out of his toolbox and throwing it all over the floor, because that's where you're going to be to by the time you get it half done. I was considering putting a V8 in this. Maybe I'll just go with a small diesel eventually. A little 2-stroke Detroit would be pretty cool in here. Wouldn't have a whole lot of power, but it'd be pretty cool sounding. So now I got to take a look at my other motor, see what's on the back of this, see what's holding this big piece on the back, and See if there's any way I can get to it. Usually got the music going in here, but with the YouTube copyright laws, you know, gotta be careful of that stuff. So while I'm recording, I'll have no music. I'm gonna see if I can find an easier way when I put the other motor in to just get at the bell housing bolts with the intake left on, because this is a lot of extra work. Get you guys in closer here to see what's going on. So I got a line right here, it's still hooked up, and let that go. Pretty sure this is an antifreeze line. Okay, I got a bit of play there now. Maybe I can finally get the injectors out of here. All right, finally a bit of progress. It only took an hour or so to do. Now, I probably could, I'm better off probably taking that line off if I get it to clamp. Oh my god, it's in a terrible spot. Okay, throttle body is off. I love this little thing. Okay, so after some back-breaking work, I have the intake off. And as you can see, you still can't see the bell housing bolts, but they should be easier to get at now. So, the way I'm looking at it, to dismantle the engine, I must become one with the engine. I'm going to have to crawl up on top of that engine, lean down over the back of this, and try to get those bell bolts out. Once I get those out, I let the O2 sensor wiring go, take the manifolds out of the way, they're already unbolted, then let go of the motor mounts and heater hoses, and she's ready to pull out. Yeah. I'm not sure if you can see this on camera, but there's 4 nice studs there. They go really nice on the kneecaps when you're leaning over an engine. So luckily we got some old curtains or something here at work, and I'll pile a bunch on top of that, save on the kneecaps a bit, and get the stuff in the back there. The O2 sensor wiring is quite the pain, because as soon as it gets a bit of dirt into the plugs, they just don't want to come apart. So that's going to be fun. There's a metal bracket here with sharp metal on it. That's pretty nice. Maybe I'll take that out of the way. Save on the fingers a little bit. And there's my bell bolts. Right down there at the end of my hand. Nice. This is just so easy. I don't know. I like to do this all the time. And I'm going to start with these O2 sensors. Try to get them out of the way with this pick, and drive the pick into the side of my finger when it slips, and you know, all that good stuff. So I think I got the motor ready to pull out. I just let the motor mounts go. Go ahead and get the driver's side exhaust manifold out because the steering shaft's in the way. I'm not taking the steering shaft off because there's no master spline. I know I can mark it with a marker or whatever, but then doing this kind of job, it'll probably get worn off, and then my steering wheel's crooked and everything, so not going to bother with that. I got to drop down enough so it's out of the way, I believe. The harness on this, there's more brackets that secure it to the body and the engine than what's on a Honda Civic. That's really saying something, because the Honda Civics are crazy for it. But I got them all off too. There's a couple rusted off, so they were a little easier to get off. And I got the starter moved out of the way. I wants to leave it where it's sitting to, so it's easier to put back on. I'd rather not try to take the solenoid bolt off, because that'll more than likely break off. Then I got to wait 2 weeks for another starter, because can't get nothing in this town for a 2002 Chevy Tracker. So I'm going to go grab a bit of lunch over at A&W there, I suppose. And bring Crystal some lunch, and then I'm going to come back over and pull this motor out. I believe this motor was taken out before, because when I got to the last transmission bell housing bolt, the motor was already loose when I took the second last one out. So I took it out, and she is loose. So she's not stuck on her dowels or nothing, so that's always great. It should come out fairly easy. I'm concerned about the fan clearing, because those clutch fans could be a pain to get off sometimes. So I'd rather leave it on. There's one on the other motor over in the corner there. So we'll see how it goes. In the worst case, I might have to take my hood latch off, and that's no big deal. So when I get back from my little lunch, I'll record me taking it out. So I'm just back from dinner. It was great. And put the jack underneath the transmission. And I got the cherry picker in place. The reason for the jack under the transmission is try to keep it level so it slides off the dowels evenly. So I'm going to hook up a strap there now to the engine. And pluck this thing out of there. Lifting points on this motor is in the wrong spot. Makes the motor tilt too much and bind up on the transmission. So what I'm going to do is just run a small strap from the front of the engine to the lift point and try to balance her out. All about the geometry, yeah? Check around now for any wiring I might have missed. Just like that, the motor's out. So I'll give you a close-up on what's going on here. As you can see, up close, she had multiple oil leaks all over the place. Factory AC. But I think this motor is still rebuildable. I have to haul it apart to find out. But she's just caked in oil everywhere you look. But the funny thing is, for every about oil change, it might have been down a quarter quart of oil. It's just messy, that's all. So what happened, as far as I know, this has 2 timing chains on it, one for each head, and one of the timing chains let go. So if you rotate it in the direction that it spins when it's running, the chain that's let go brings up. and you rotate it the other way and it's fine. Well, it was fine enough to get the torque converter bolts out, which is all that mattered. I didn't try to turn it any more than that. So what I'm going to do now is bring that over here by the good engine. I don't know where I'm going to put it to yet. Maybe move the oxygen to acetylene and put it there, because we use that quite a bit during the work week. And then I'm going to hook up the other motor and get ready to put her in. So instead of videotaping all that, my battery's getting kind of low. I'm going to put the battery on the charger for a while, and I'll start recording when I start dropping the motor back in. So I just got the AC pump installed on there and the good belt. So that's all good to go now. And I am just about ready to drop this in. It's always better to have two people to do this, but I'm here myself today. My boss said if I needed a hand to give him a shout and he'd come on down, but I'm going to try to give it a shot myself there, because the hardest part is lining her up on her dowels. Well, the dowels are right here. Those aren't so bad because on the transmission, if you look closely, there's two studs sticking out. And if they line up, everything else is going to line up. Now, something else I did, those two top bolts that were really hard to get at, I left them in the transmission, and I'm hoping to be able to get a swivel socket on them after with about 42 extensions and tighten them up that way without taking the intake off. So here goes nothing. That's it. She's in there. So I got the transmission bolted onto the motor. I got all the bell bolts in except for the two top ones. I'll leave them for last because they're the hardest. The motor mounts, I got her dropped on her motor mounts. Both motor mounts are back on. Starter is bolted on. And then I decided, well, geez, this is going pretty good here. I might as well throw the front diff in. Yeah, it's easier to come out than put back in. So to put it back in, I have to take the CV axle out on this side. And to take that CV axle out, I have to let the strut go, and the ball joint, and the tie rod end. And then of course I had to take my locking hub off right here, and take a C-clip out of there. Then the CV joint comes out, then the ball joint will drop down enough to get this all out of the way. Just because there's about 1.5 inches, not enough room to get the front diff up in there with that axle in there. So yeah. So as much of a pain as it was to take everything off the passenger side here, it made the front diff go in a whole lot easier. The point I'm at right now is I got this all back together. Front diff is bolted in. I got a bolt on the front dry shaft now. Everything else for the front diff is done. I got to hook up the vent hose, that's about it. And I think after that I'm going to tackle those two top bell housing bolts. I've been dreading them. Dreading getting at them, but they got to be done. Nice. That's one. I can't even see where the other one is too. I'm sure I'll get them. got about 4.5 feet of extensions here. That should do it. That was a whole lot easier than hauling the intake off. Glad I didn't have to do that again. So I made a bit of progress since the last time I was recording. I just got the wheels put back on. The front drive shaft is hooked up. The exhaust is all done. And I forgot to put the EGR tube on before I put the motor in, so I'm having a bit of a battle getting that in place. I got one bolt that's really hard to get at, but I'll fight with it a bit more and I'll get it. It's just going to be a little tricky. So I'm down to the point now where it's just a radiator and the intake, the AC condenser, and probably some other little things I overlooked, but not a whole lot. But I'm getting there. I'm getting very close. I will have this fired up tonight. I started at this at 10 o'clock today. I went for lunch around 12 for a while. And it is close to 6 o'clock in the evening now, and she's getting near done. So, getting kind of excited over that. While I think about it, I'll hook up my vent hose for the front diff. That's pretty important when you're off-roading. No water getting down in the differential there. Not the easiest spot to get at either, but I'll get her. There. So yeah, I will need to get 2 new CB joints for this soon. The boots are getting torn. When I took this one out, water poured out of one of them, so I mean, it's time for a new set of CB joints for the front. So I'll probably order them tonight there, online. And I think it's time to put her down now and see what I overlooked. Stubby ratchet, I don't know what that's doing, probably laying on it. Maybe I'll try with the longer one first. Oh, stubby ratchet close by. Or am I laying on it?
I might be laying on it, it's not down there.
So after a few choice curse words and a bit of complaining and all that good stuff, I got that one bolt tightened up. It wasn't easy. I started it off with the small ratchet with a stubby extension, got it so far, and then I used a stubby wrench to finish it off, and I got her tight. So I think I can hook up my O2 sensors now, and I noticed I got to put the heat shields on the exhaust, the throttle cable, and then the radiator, and that should be about it. Okay, so I got her to the point where she's ready to start. I tried to start her just a minute ago and I had a ground failure. The ground going from the engine to the body was too thin, so I put a heavier one on. So now we're going to give her a go and see if she's going to start. I got everything all hooked up, as far as I know anyway. My battery's a bit low, so I got the booster pack on her. So let's see what happens. she works. By the sounds of it, I got to tighten up the alternator belt. But except for that, she does sound good. She don't sound like the old one, like a diesel, so that's always good. So I guess that's going to wrap up that video. Tracker seems to be running fine. Tomorrow I'm going to put it out and leave it run for a while and check the antifreeze once the thermostat opens up. And fluid levels are all good now, so only thing to do now is test drive her and see what she's like. Do that tomorrow. It's 9:30 at night, so I'm pretty beat now. It's been a long day. I haven't stopped much, but I got her done. That's amazing. Crystal came down and gave me a hand for a bit. I really appreciated that. Made my work a little easier. So if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe and like and comment, do all that stuff. Please and thank you, and catch you on the next one.